sure about the cloud thingy.
Okay.
So I think we can officially start. Welcome, everybody. I'm going to do our meeting with Ivan, who is the author of the Unity MCP. He's going to talk about it a little bit. We're going to ask him some questions, kind of get her and know a little bit more about his side of the work, what can be improved, how he views things. We have some awesome questions prepared. But I'll first let you talk a little bit, even introduce yourself, tell the people who you are.
Hey, yeah, hi everyone. Glad to be here. Yeah, I'm a creator of AI game developer, or also known as Unity MCP. Um, I do game development for majority of my career and also software engineering in general. And for the last time, approximately 1.5 years, I'm doing like heavily with AI and with AI game developer as well, as you know. And yeah, happy to be here.
Awesome. Really glad to have you here. Um, okay, I think I'm gonna start off with some questions that people wrote via the link. So Ohad asks, the Unity engine has a lot of binary formats and assets ID system that make it super difficult for LLMs to generate projects. What is your experience? Is the engine getting friendlier for LLMs?
Yeah, that's actually a very good question exactly for this project, what I'm working on. Because that's exactly how I found the solution using reflection. So originally any like similar projects for Unity MCP, they do use hard code for like getting access to any tool for any like feature of the engine. But I figure out to use reflection to have the full access to anything. So even if you have like a heavy DLLs, a heavy third-party libraries, plugins, doesn't matter, even your custom code base in the project, just because of the reflection, you can still get the full access to everything. And AI can navigate to find anything, call anything, change data, see data, write data. So yeah, it's become much more simpler. There is only one tiny important detail here. Um, to make this tool work, I mean, this tool for like scanning data or changing data, LLM should be smart enough to understand the complex JSON schema. And from my experience, simple LLM models, they cannot do that. Um, for example, if to talk about Cloud Code, they have the model Haiku, and that one usually cannot understand the complex JSON schema, and it may fail even to execute a simple operation because of that. But if to increment the LLM like to at least a sonnet, it's gonna be fine. It's gonna work well.
Interesting. So just to expand on that, would you say like there's some levels of models you need to use in order to make your MCP is like more as efficient as possible, and some models are less likely to do so, basically.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. There are. It also depends on a tool. There
Okay.
are like about 100 tools right now, and some of them they are complex for AI to understand, and some of them are very easy. So it just depends on what tool you're gonna use. But there is a pretty interesting fact. The very simple tool, which feels simple, like just to spawn a cube or just to spawn a game object, that one is actually a complex one for AI. So yeah, you would need to do not use Haiku for that task. But if you're gonna like do something else, I don't have specific tool in mind right now. It could be very simple for AI to
Interesting.
make
Why
it.
is it complex? I believe
Uh,
because of GUIDs and such, like the way that Unity generates them by itself.
No, that's fine. That's fine. AI, just because of this tool, how they design it, AI doesn't care about GUIDs of objects. It's not very important. The key part there, it's the data model, and specifically the data model of oh, my bad. Creating game object is simple tool. Yeah, I was wrong. Modifying a component on a game object, that's a complex one. Yeah, and I just realized it. So yeah, if Well, when AI needs to understand the data structure of a component, for example, like collider component on a game object, it would need to go into the data structure and understand the JSON schema. And the JSON schema become complex because it has references to other types. It's not just a single type. It's not just a box collider. Box collider has also rect. It has vector 3. It has bunch of like nested data models, and it's become heavy. It's become a lot of references. And very simple AI models, they fails to understand that schema. So just a smarter one can do that. And yeah, for modifying a single property in a collider, like not gravity, like weight or friction or something, it's gonna like you would need to have a bit smarter model to make it done.
Interesting. Awesome. I think that's going to be like a connected, like a transition question. Um, Anonymous wrote, I haven't used your MCP yet, but I've used other MCPs a while ago, and it didn't work as smoothly. How does your MCP deal with Unity's engine needing to be focused in order to compiling scripts? When my agents used to make code changes like editor scripts and then run them, they would fail because the code they built didn't compile yet. Was this solved? Interesting
Um,
question.
Um,
Itai, I just want to stop for a second
Oh,
before we continue.
yeah, sorry.
You skipped the announcements that we wanted, so you put all the announcements also in the
I
comments.
wanted to.
But first of all, our friends from Gamies have in 3 months exactly the industry big convention we have once a year, annual summit. So sign up. And submit your talks and everything. So they are our friends. We have the WhatsApp group. I will also put a link to the WhatsApp group in
Right.
the comments. And of course, we have this is advertisements, our SBS Games School. You're welcome to check courses and to talk with us about anything you want. Another thing, we hire a tech art. So this is the
Leave your resumes at the end of
Yeah,
the
exactly.
Zoom
We look
chat.
for a takeout instructor, and I already have a comment from the audience in private. They ask me maybe that before we jump to questions, maybe you will talk about the MCP, explain what is MCP, what is
Right.
your MCP doing, and why you made it, and then um, no, this one we will not do. He's sending me more stuff. And whatever you want, Ivan, it's your floor. So if you want to show us something on the screen,
Yeah,
feel
you're
free.
more than welcome to do that. That's actually a good idea. Um,
Um, yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. Good point. Good point. Let me do that. One sec. I'm gonna share my screen. And yeah, answering on the question.
I'll get
Mhm.
back to the anonymous question I just asked. Maybe going over a little bit about MCPAs, why your MCP is unique compared to other stuff like that would be actually a good starting point. Sorry if I jumped too quickly to the questions, everybody.
No worries. Yeah, I'm just sharing my LinkedIn page right now. That's it
Right.
for now. Uh,
There we go.
okay. Yeah, okay, so small introduction about Unity MCP or AI game developer is actually one thing, just two names. So AI game developer, it's a connector, universal connector to any AI agent, from any AI agent into Unity engine. And later it's going to be also Unreal and Godot. Um, the core
Yes.
point, like the problem, why it's even needed, because Cloud Code, for example, or any other solution, they can do a lot of stuff already by default. But here's the problem, and that's going to be one of the questions I already heard. That's about code recompilation and bunch of other native game engine stuff that AI may need to do, but it cannot because it doesn't have the full access to the engine. Yes, it has the full access to the files, but not to the engine, and that's very different. Engine has a lot of features in runtime that only can be triggered by using API of the engine itself. And that API, it's not HTTP API. You cannot call it directly. You need to be inside of the process. So that's how this project works. It get connected in between a agent and game engine, and it stays right there. Actually, it stays even inside of the engine, and it exposes API abroad. It exposes API for everyone else to call it. and that's how it works.
Cool. Can you give me like some demonstration of like a simple thing every day we do like as a game developers that uh this MCP can probably answer and help us with? Like for example, setting up a scene, adding game objects, stuff like that. Um, what's like the most niche, the most not niche, the basic capabilities of this MCP, like as an example?
Yeah, I guess I would start from a very common thing where people would need to use it. And I would highly recommend to use it for that, first of all. And that's for running tests. So during the game development, especially with AI, we would need to have a loop. We would need to let AI to do the job and then test itself. Because without this important feedback, AI blindly doing stuff without knowing is it done or no, should something be fixed or no. And that's not very efficient because that requires us humans to be involved into the process and to do validation, verification each time, which is gonna be very slow. If AI can do that automatically, that's going to be much faster. And you can even do a couple of different tasks in parallel. AI can do that, this, and that in parallel, and it's going to work. So the first tool you would need to use, that's test. The test, it's a tool that can call a Unity tests, execute them, and provide a very well detailed information about errors, about which test failed, what was the exception, stack trace, number of tests failed, and etc. AI is even capable to modify the output for token optimization. So that tool is very important. And another one, it is the tool for recompiling stuff, recompiling the project. You actually don't need to call a dedicated tool for that because anytime you call tests tool, it also gonna recompile if needed. So it's also going to work by default. But sometimes you don't want to run tests. Sometimes you just want to develop some script, some logic, and you want to be sure it doesn't have compilation error. So you would need to compile it only without tests, and you're going to see like is it fine or no. If there's going to be compilation error, it's going to be returned back to AI, and AI going to know like something was wrong immediately, which is going to improve efficiency as well. And that tool is assets refresh that I can call anytime.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that's probably it for this question.
Cool.
Um, yeah, and like everything else, that's like the most important part. That's tests and code recompilation. But Unity engine has much more, and like any other engine, it's not only about code. You can do literally everything, like set up scenes, as you said, create prefabs, make UI, instantiate prefabs, and do like literally everything what you want, even like customizing executable objects or some complex components on your game objects at any depths of your hierarchy in the scene. Um, so just because a game developer uses reflection, it can get access to anything there and like read any property and modify any property while Unity Engine is launched and running. So there is actually no limits, I would say. I just bump it into a few things that the game developer cannot do. It cannot work with shader graph in Unity only because shader graph does not have C# API to do actions. It just doesn't exist. I'm pretty sure maybe sometime in the future Unity gonna change it, but for now it's not an option. But AI game developers still can create shaders by using code. Not
Right.
not like shader graph, but just native code. It can do that and then create materials, attach materials to any game object. I had a demo. Hold on, let me find it real quick. I did a demo um with shader development recently. Yeah, it's this one. So it was Cloud Code. I did ask Cloud Code to create a shader of glass, like not just a simple transparent glass, but like this blur, translucent effect with a lot of like properties I can modify. I'm gonna scroll to the end. Oh yeah, and by the way, um, important point here. Do you remember I was talking about the loop, like when
Right.
AI gonna do something, and
Hmm.
then AI need to test itself to be sure like the job is done. And I was talking about like C sharp and testing stuff, but it also works for visual anything. For example, here you see this magenta color, and AI sees that as well. So AI can do screenshot from scene view, from scene window in Unity, um, and it knows, like, I mean, if you have the multimodal model, like for example, Gemini 3 Pro, like Opus, and many other actually. But you need to check because not each model is multimodal. Multimodal model is the model that can recognize files like images, sound, or something else. So in this
So,
case, I'm using Opus. Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
sorry to interrupt. So, is a like an average model, let's say for Claude, because it's very popular recently. So Sonnet, which is the default model, would you say it's like applies here in this example?
Um, I'm not sure actually. Need to Google it up real quick.
Interesting. Okay, yeah, I want to check it out too.
Yeah, Sonnet 4.6. Is it
No, no
multimodal?
need for now. It's okay. We'll do it later.
Got it, got it.
Sonnet
Yeah,
working can you hear me?
Now we
yeah,
can.
yeah.
Yeah, Sonnet working for me normally for taking screenshots and analyze them and use them. But in my setup also Sonnet can call Opus and give it information as advisor.
Interesting.
So
Mm,
That's
and
cool.
yeah,
then
yeah.
you can do it also with other models and connect it, but this is more complicated.
Yeah, good point, actually. Good point. Yeah, I usually use a smarter model to call a simple model, but yeah, it also works in reverse direction. I didn't think about that. Absolutely. Yeah, good point. And yeah, thanks for answering.
Oh, sorry. That's actually great because I was gonna like one of my questions was like, is there a way for the MCP to take screenshots of your workflow and see like to help him understand the errors or what you intended when you asked him to do certain action? So that's kind of answered my question as well. That's really cool, actually. I'd like to know more
E-
about that. I'll read about it more
e-
online.
Yeah, and let me do more stuff about this topic, about screenshots and this part of the loop. So screenshot is actually not as simple as compilation errors or logs from console, because screenshot could be done in a very different environment, in from different angle, with different field of view, with different. I mean, everything could be so different. Even resolution or aspect ratio of the screenshots. There are so many properties, um, and all of that already here in this project. So AI can do that. It has options. It has arguments to modify the stuff to make screenshot better. But in my experience, AI is not always doing that for now good enough. It's not always like understand that the camera should be moved here or there, should be placed properly. So I'm gonna work on a new tool soon, probably next months, not this month. It's gonna be a tool that's gonna be able to do much more smarter the screenshot. Right now we have three screenshots tool. One of them is making screenshot from scene view, another one doing screenshot from game view, and a third one which makes the screenshot from any camera in your scene. Um, and just because
Very
we have
cool.
other tool, yeah, and just because we have other tool, we can move that camera around. We can put it anywhere, we can turn it, we can change properties using component modification, we can change field of view, etc. We can even change the light. But that should be done by calling all the different tools. And that's why AI is not smart enough to, or not even needed to do that usually. So it's not doing that. And I bumped into a couple of issues. For example, when I worked on this glass shader at the start, AI spawned this rectangle in 000 position in space, and that was inside of another object, which is actually a problem because when the tool is trying to make a screenshot, it doesn't see that object because another one covers it. And that was the problem. So I figured out how to resolve it, and that tool is not yet completed. So it's going to be a new tool that's going to do isolated screenshots. I mean, isolation is going to be an option. It could be turned on or turn it off. But that tool going to be very, very powerful for this loop. It's going to be probably a primary tool for a visual loop for taking screenshots and doing stuff. So it can remove any other objects from rendering, and it's going to take only the important object that's going to resolve the problem if the object is inside of
Nice.
something else.
Hmm.
Yeah, it can change the lighting environment for that object. It can spawn temporarily r- light objects like pointer light or directional light or something else to override the default light you have in the scene right now. So, I mean, it's going to solve another problem. You can have a night environment, a very dark environment, or you can have a shadow, like your object could be in the shadow of another object. So it's going to be also a problem. And here you can modify all of that. You can like remove other objects from scene. It's going to be no other shadow. You can change the light. You can make it brighter, warmer, pink, wherever you want. It's going to be there. Everything's going to be in one tool. And that tool is also going to allow to make screenshots from different perspectives at once, like an option. So like top view, side view, isometric view, and one more, like front view, I guess. Um, yeah, but that's also like an option. So it's going to be a very monstruously complex tool that's going to do a lot of stuff. But all of that going to be focused for making screenshot. Yeah, yeah, that's it.
That's awesome.
When you mention developing the technology to enable it, to enable the screenshots from the different perspectives, POVs, and such, um, I understand the need to make the technology available for the agent, but it doesn't solve the reasoning of the AI to choose which perspective to check, which lighting to check, what is the best in order to receive the most information, and how to use it the best. So, is there like a way through the MCP or through the API you give to the agent to make it more clear, maybe?
Not sure I'm following. You mean like if the tool gonna have options to modify all of that itself or something else?
No, no, rather than allowing the agent to know which one is the best way to get the perspective, which camera is the best one to get the best information, or change the lighting to which setting, because sometimes the AI reasoning isn't always the best by what we can actually get.
I see, I see. Um, yeah, that's actually still challenging. Um, the tool itself provides, yeah, here's how I solve similar type of problems. Not always for 100% resolved, but it definitely makes things better. So each tool has a description with an information for AI, how, when, and how better to use it. Um, I'm trying to keep it short to do not waste many tokens. And sometimes I even do cross references between tools. For example, one tool can tell AI to use another tool to do something on top or before or after. It depends. Um, and that actually helps. So AI, for example, if you need to modify the component, you first of all need to know what properties the component has. So you would need to, before modification, you would need to read the component to get the data and then to modify it. And those tools, they cross references to each other. Um, about the screenshot, they also do cross references to each other. I guess I'm not sure. Need to take a look. About like what which another tool may help. So it's going to be in the description as well. But yeah, the problem is bigger. It's like we cannot inject the full knowledge of everything into AI context. It's actually hard, not because it's not technically like hard. technically it's very easy, but it's like we do not have a format. At least I don't know for now how to make it so easy to AI to resolve any problem. It's a big challenge. But we can definitely make it easier by providing some helpful guides and like the directions for AI, how to do that or this in the tool description. And even if you do a custom tool for your project, I would say it's going to be a good idea to add well-defined description with some helpful information for AI. Um, and I hope that answer works. Let me know if it doesn't. I can like provide
Yeah,
something
yeah,
else.
definitely, definitely. It's always
Yeah.
about the balance between the reasoning of the AI and the capabilities provided by the MCP or by the tool it's using. So definitely.
I'm
Can I
Yeah.
gonna. Oh, yeah, go ahead, Sergey.
can I kind of ask something about specifically this question? Something I was wondering if it works and maybe you tried it. So there's the option to use the skills that you created there to call the CLI, but all the skills, the same as MCP, they all go to the context. But I wonder, did you ever think to try maybe to create like main entry point skills that are being read, and the rest of the skills, like all of the tools, are like not automatically read, and then the skill kind of navigates. So like you have less context at the beginning, and then each skill adds more context to the direction that the AI needs to do. So if it goes to do a screenshot, it won't go read about package managers. Like, is something like this an idea, or did you?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about a lot, actually, how to design the skill usage in the project. And I'm happy to discuss it with you right now. That's going to be a good point. And let me explain why I did the current implementation. And again, I'm going to explain the current implementation real quick for people who are not familiar. So right now we have, let's say, three tools in the project. Each tool is going to be converted into a skill. I'm going to draw them like rectangles like this. So we're going to have a folder of three skills. Each of them has description part, which is smaller block of text, and everything else, which is much bigger block, which is like the full description of like the full knowledge of the skill. AI by default consumes this part always. It always consumes description, not description, usually like a title or maybe some small part of the description. It depends on agent. But it does not consume everything else at the start. Oh, sorry. I mean, this one is not going to be consumed at the start. It's going to be consumed only if the skill going to be loaded. So the reason why I split all the skills, or each tool to a different skill, because I'm trying to do not let AI to load like huge chunk of data, like all of this red data, into the context, as only it's gonna do something with Unity. Uh, Let me draw like another alternative architecture. So let's say we have a single skill for everything, and it's going to be three different tools here inside. It's going to look something like this, one big rectangle and three smaller chunks here. And we're gonna have like some context here. It's gonna be longer probably, or maybe not. Maybe it could be short. Like we're just gonna work with Unity. It's gonna be here. Um, and oh no, hold on, we need green. So this block is gonna be used always by AI by default whenever you're gonna start a new chat. And then this block's gonna be called only when. Oh, pardon. That's actually a bit incorrect. Because it's going to be one big block here. Yeah, it's going to be like that. Um, like
So just to
this.
make sure we follow, each block represents a skill, right? Or a
Yeah.
tool. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, both. In my current architecture, they are both. So a single square, it's a tool by default, but it's procedurally generated into a skill as well. If you have three tools in the project, there's going to be three skills. And that's exactly the question, at least if I understand it correctly. Like, why do we have many tools, many skills instead of a single skill that's gonna like go deeper in different folders with different knowledge. Um,
Why not a tree though?
mhm,
That's kind of what I'm asking. I understand that one skill that includes everything is like really bad, but at the moment there's I don't remember, like 50 skills, and I
mhm.
wonder like if I would categorize them in a tree, and
Yeah.
let's say editing objects, all of them are like under one skill. That inside maybe also, I don't know if currently, I'm guessing there's no option for me to tell it. If you're trying to change an object, only use this skill and don't go read the other three that I put in here as a link. I'm guessing it's going to read all of them. It is a problem. I see what you're saying, though.
Yeah, and that's actually a very good question you're asking. I was asking the same question at the start when I started to work on skills. And the problem is, mm, AI doesn't have that API. The skills are flat. The tree structure is not just supported. It
Hmm.
doesn't exist yet, at least. I hope Anthropic or someone else gonna upgrade the skill API, and I hope it's gonna be tree structured because absolutely it's gonna be much more efficient if there's gonna be tree. And I totally agree, but that's not an option at least today. Maybe later in future.
Thank
Cool.
you.
Yeah, and on top of that, we can, I mean, theoretically, we can like do beyond of the API. I mean, just because all of these are files and any text we can write in this block, it's everything. What I mean, we can write everything there, um, and we can like tell AI like, all right, if you want to get the knowledge about particle system, for example, you would need to go into another file and read that. But that's not going to be anymore the skill uh, API. It's going to be like a custom stuff. And some models or some agents may do that, and some may ignore that. And it's going to be hard. If you're going to go against the standard, it's going to be hard. So I'm not going against the standard, and I'm using like the standard architecture, what they have right now, the standard API, and that's why I choose this approach. So each tool is a dedicated skill. So it injects just small amount of context at the start, and it reads the full data when it's needed.
Sounds a lot
Yeah.
more efficient. Yeah. Ivan, regarding that, SG asked in chat, does the model ask the MCP to take a screenshot? Back to the screenshot tool we talked about earlier. Does the model ask the MCP to take a screenshot, or do you need to do it manually? How is it being taken specifically? And also, if what we saw earlier on your screenshot was your Discord server for your MCP, feel free to share it with us. I'm sure some of us would be happy to join in the community and see if that's what we're talking about, if that's it. Um,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah,
I
I'm
think
gonna drop. Yeah, I'm gonna drop the link right now
awesome.
in a
Appreciate. I
second.
would appreciate it too. Yeah, I would definitely join as well. Um, so how do you use these tools basically? The screenshot one, for example, through the MCP you've written.
Yeah, so anytime when I need to do something visual, like shader, particle system, maybe even placement of level design stuff, but I don't do level design a lot. Yeah, I can like or like explicitly tell AI like, all right, do the screenshot to verify your job. But sometimes AI is smart enough to do that automatically. At least when you use Opus, that's in my case, that's smart enough to understand like it should be done a screenshot to verify how it looks like. Um, so yeah, it
Awesome.
depends. I mean, yeah.
Yeah,
Um, and I'm trying to drop the screenshot. Yeah, I just found the chat. Sorry for the delay.
no
Dropping the
worries at all.
link.
Thank you. I'll definitely go into it. Everybody feel free. Cool. We can do with some more questions
Yeah,
people have written.
I have a couple of questions
Oh,
just
oh, sure.
because I'm free for a second. First of all, you said you also want to do Godot and Unreal.
Yeah.
So is this in your future plans, but like Unity is the first proof of concept?
It's not only like proof of concept. It's like it's actually what's the core part of that. I just realized, at least for Godot, like all of this system with reflection gonna work extremely well anywhere else where where reflection is supported, and that's Godot in this case. So like all of this, like full power of reflection, gonna be there when I complete that part. With Unreal, it's a different story because Unreal doesn't have reflection because of C++. Um, but there is a workaround I'm gonna play with. Um, there is kind of like a reflection in C++, which could be used there.
What do you mean by
I'm not sure.
reflection, Ivan? Sorry to cut you. Just some people ask, and I would love to know too. What's the
Yeah,
importance
sure.
of reflection in specifically talking about this subject?
Yeah, reflection is actually a very interesting topic itself. First of all, like a technical term, reflection is a property of a programming language to be dynamic in runtime. Not all programming languages doing that by default or at all. It very depends on the compiler and how runtime system of the language works. For example, if we are talking about languages like C Sharp, Java, Python, PHP, and many other, they are they do support reflection because they have kind of like a virtual machine where the code is going to be executed. So and the code itself could be modified in runtime. And here's what it means. Actually, like about when I was in university a long time ago, I had a dream to use reflection to implement AI, but in a very different way. I was too young and naive. I thought like if to create a program that's gonna rewrite itself and it's going to evolve and it's going to keep evolving iteration by iteration, like again and again, many times. It's going to be better, smarter, and it's going to turn into AI at some point, something like that. It was my dream. And I had a lot of passion about reflection, but it doesn't work like that. But when we have a lot of models right now, reflection has a very good position here because AI it's smart enough to rewrite the application to be better, to make it evolve as I wanted a long time ago in university. Um, so it's going to work right now. LLM model should be a bit smarter to make it better, but it already works well for simple operations, like when you need to modify a property of a component or anything else. It works. So in other words, what reflection does, it lets you to write a line of code where you can get any property, like for example, you have a class and the class has health property with number. You, using reflection, you can read all the available properties in the class and you're going to see, all right, I have one property in runtime. If you want, you can change it or read the data from it. In the same time, you can even create brand new class like health and stamina, for example, and it's going to be two properties. Or if you want, you can inject another property into your existing class in runtime as well, even without changing the code itself. Just because reflection works in runtime, it's going to be different thing. So yeah, reflection for AI here for the Unity or Godot, it's very important because we can flexibly get the access to any data model we have in the project. It could be our custom component, it could be player controller, it could be particle system, it could be shader, it could be game object, scriptable object. It doesn't matter anymore. Even if Unity Engine going to be updated tomorrow and it's going to be something else completely, it's still going to work because reflection doesn't care. It takes everything what's compiled, reads that, and exposes the data to AI. So we kind of have infinite flexibility here. We should not do update. We should not hard code stuff. We should not hard code features because it's gonna just work out of the box very easily.
Amazing, actually interesting. Like, yeah, somebody just send a link, further explanation on reflections to anybody who's curious about the topic in general. But thank you, Ivan. Like, that's a great explanation. I've learned a few things just now. Um, Somebody wrote, which I'm actually curious about. I never used your MCP. I've used one. Used one of the others, and now Unity has their own MCP. Why should we use you and not yours and not the others? What's actually differentiating between the MCPs?
Yeah, good question. And the first, there are going to be many answers. And the first one, the Unity MCP doesn't have reflection support, which makes things very complicated, to be honest, for everyone, for users and for developers of the MCP in the same time. The problem of that is, um, you would not be able to modify anything. You would not be able to. I mean, definitely, it's going to let you to do simple operations like create game object, add component, remove component, something like that. But it's like physically impossible to create tools for everything when you do not have reflection. Because for each tiny property, and there are billions of them in the project. And if you have your custom code base, and you definitely have, you have even more custom classes. And those classes going to be a black box for Unity MCP, because it's going to be blind for your custom code. It's going to be able only to work with native Unity code, and only with that code which already hard coded for into the MCP. And if it's going to be any update of the Unity engine or of any package like Cine Machine or Sprite or whatever you use in your project, it's also going to not work with that. So many limitations because of reflection, lack of reflection. Um, Another thing from what I remember, MCP, Unity MCP from Unity, I mean, it's works. Hmm. No, that's probably it. Yeah, that's not a problem. That's fine. Yeah, so probably reflection, that's number one. And maybe that's it for now from what I remember.
But if your MCP uses mostly reflections and Unity is using through the API of the engine itself, which is how I understand it, does it mean that using Unity would be faster because reflection is heavy?
Oh, yeah, that's correct. But here's the trick here. It's faster for like couple of milliseconds, which is barely important in the case with AI. So when you send a prompt, even if that's not you, even there is another agent that keeps sending a lot of prompts into another agent and calling tools one by one, it still takes seconds, if not dozens of seconds, for AI to think. So 1 millisecond or even 10 milliseconds at that scale, when AI needs 10 seconds to think, actually does matter much. Um, um, Reflection is not a good solution for efficiency. Yeah, because it's like not efficient by default. Reflection is heavy, but we do reflection only for a tool call only once. I mean, it's not maybe once, but like one time when AI gonna request it, and then it's gonna stop. It's not gonna happen each frame when your game is running. It's gonna happens once. So I would say it's still very efficient, at least because of that.
Interesting. Cool. Yeah, makes sense. Further question somebody asked is, which AI agent works best with your MCP currently? Is it Cloud, Cursor, Copilot? Is you noticed any differences between the three or any other?
Yeah, and that's a hard question. It very depends on the user, I would say. Um, in my experience, I did test actually a lot. I did test Cursor, Gemini, Copilot, Copilot CLI, Cloud Code, Codex, and something else. Sorry, I may forget something. And they were different at different time. At some point, Cursor was really good. It did work very well. Then it become not as good in comparison to other tools. Gemini was really good at some point. Copilot was very good at some point. But right now, at least for today, at least for me, that's Cloud Code. Cloud Code become much better, and it happened somewhere in January or in December, not much time ago, and still Cloud Code wins, at least in my experience. It could be very different in your experience, and that's completely fine because like it very depends on your style of work, what you do, what tools you need. Um, and I'm usually saying there are a couple of pillars in AI systems. And one of them it's LLM model. That's a classic one. So better LLM model is better. I mean, it's also like expensive. So it depends on the goal. If you need save money, you need to go, I mean, you need to balance. Um, so LLM model, tools, and the agent. So agent itself, it's very important on top of all of this. And in this context, Codex or Cloud Code or Copilot, they are agents. I mean, they have a default agent like which going to do the job for you. It's going to decide what to provide, what system prompt to produce, what to let AI to do, what to restrict AI to do, and a bunch of stuff. And that is a software which may fail time to time. And for example, in my experience, Codex and Gemini, and also Copilot today, like from like a month ago and still for today, Copilot failing a lot. I mean, just software, just the agent, it fails a lot. It has a lot of issues, a lot of errors. They also added a very strange firewall into the agent, which doesn't have much sense to me because they do block any MCP tool that has a specific characters like square bracket or plus sign. If you have it there, it's just not gonna work. It's just gonna block it, and it's gonna not even gonna block the single tool. It's gonna block the entire MCP. Entire MCP not gonna work because of a single character in the tool description, not description in the tool JSON schema, which is very strange. But if to switch to skills, it's going to work. With the same JSON schema, it's going to work. So I would say we right now in some turbulence these days. A lot of companies like Google, Anthropic, OpenAI, GitHub, Microsoft, etc., they just get started. They just get started to implement AI agents. They are still very different, very noisy. A lot of issues we have still. It's going to be better later. We have standards, but they do not follow standards too much. And that's why we have these issues. So yeah, that's probably my answer.
Awesome, cool. Thank you so much for the detailed answer. I just wanted to point out real quick, if anybody has like questions now live, it's way better than me reading questions that's been pre-written. So if you guys want to ask something, go ahead, shoot your shot. That's the time we have even here in live. So I'll give you guys a second to think about it.
Okay, I want to ask something.
Yeah, go ahead, Yuval.
Whether you think that 3D and game programming specifically isn't different from other agents by default. So it's so different that it needs to have an an agent of itself, not not the model, not the MCP, but we need an agent that deals the data differently.
Like an
All
LLM that
right.
is trained in order to make
Yeah, like
3D
that.
work more.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
that we have agents that are trained for code. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And we have models that are trained for code and for 3D, but that's models. I feel as
All right.
if we need an agent for 3D.
Do you mean for 3D or for game development?
For game development, it's even worse than just 3D. I think that for 3D for sure, and for game development even more, because that's way harder to understand.
Yeah, makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And you're right about that. About both game development and 3D stuff. That's absolutely true. Um, and let me answer why. So by default, any LLM has some very generic context, a very generic I mean, it was trained on a very generic data. I mean, it was trained on all the data, so a lot of data, way too much. for a specific task like 3D or game development. Um, that's good from one point, but when you want to just make the job done, that sometimes may not play well because it's going to try to do some weird stuff and you just need something specific and it's not going to do that. So yeah, having another agent that's going to have a system prompt that's going to tell AI how to navigate better in the current environment, in the current task. That's a good point. And it could be achieved by two ways. And one of these ways, it's actually very easy to implement even right now, and any one of you can do that. You can create a markdown file in your project under agent folder. The folder depends on your agent. For the codecs, it's going to be one folder. For a Cloud Code, it's another folder. For a Copilot, it's another folder. You just need to know where it should be. So you can create a markdown file. That markdown file has to have a proper format. You need to follow instructions about that. And you can write down exact details, maybe even tools or instructions how AI should do the job. And next time when you're gonna open your Cloud Code or something else, you can ask AI to use that agent. You just need to write it down explicitly with agent name. Um, and here's what's gonna happen. So it's gonna spawn a dedicated context window in your chat. That context window gonna load everything what you have in your Claude MD file, the default one, or it depends on your agent. And then it's gonna inject on top of that, it's gonna inject everything what you have in that agent file. So you kind of like stacking instructions on top of each other, stacking markdown files. And if to describe the information well enough in that markdown file, you kind of like have a tree structure with one layer. It's similar to skills, like what we draw here. I can explain in a second. So it helps a lot. At least for me, it helps a lot. And I would say it should be generic for everyone. It should help for everyone. If you have a different scopes of tasks, like very different scopes of tasks. Like you need to do level design, or you need to do animations, or you need to do some C# coding tasks in Unity with Unity specifics. You may create three different agents, and each of them going to have a specific instructions how to make this job correctly from first try. And it's going to be even efficient in token consumption a lot. And I'm gonna explain why here on the picture. So let me remove everything for a sec.
Just a quick
And
question, Ivan. Sorry,
yeah,
just to
sure,
make
go
sure I
ahead.
understood what you said. So basically, you're saying it's recommended to do three agents for three different tasks. For example, in
Hmm.
this case scenario, so one will take over AI, second will take over animations, and the third will do C# programming. And this is something we have to do as users manually, like open three different agent windows and do that. Like that will give the best outcome. Just to understand what we're talking. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So you can create as many agents you want for any specific type of tasks you have in your project. It could be even more. You might have three different programmer agents if you have a very different programming tasks in your project.
Right.
For
Yeah.
example, if you have some tools, like I mean, not AI tools, but like just tools for humans in Unity Engine, and you would like to create brand new tools or maintain those tools, you can make the agent for that. So it's still C#, it's still programming task, but only for editor, not for game. On top of that, you can create another agent for making game features or game components for the game itself. It's going to be the second one, and you can like keep adding them. I can explain real quick how it works by drawing the schema here. So let me change to black. So and I'm gonna start from the context concept in AI. I'm pretty sure almost all of you knows what's that, but just in case, I'm gonna explain. So by default, when you create any chat in AI, you have the context window spawned. The context window has size. It depends on the model you use. Some majority of the models they have 200K of the tokens in the window in the context available for you. By default, that is going to be consumed by default by some system prompt of the agent you use. For example, Cloud Code has its internal stuff. It's hidden. You can see that. And it's going to be injected into the context. So by default, it's going to be consumed by some amount. Then it's going to be your Cloud Code MD file going to be scanned and uploaded into the context as well. It's going to be here. It could be bigger, it could be smaller. It depends on your file size. And then on top of that, it's going to be injected MCP tools as well, all of them. So that's why it's highly recommended to disable as many MCP tools you don't need, just to disable them because it's a big chunk usually. So it's like that. After this, we are flexible to put anything we want. You can just type what you want in the chat and edit here, like a small block. But that's like a simple and straight way. Um, there is a bit better architecture how you can do that. You can, as I said, create a couple of agents. They're not going to be loaded into the context at the start until you explicitly ask AI to use an agent. When you do that, there is also an interesting trick happens here because I mean it also depends on AI agent. I mean Cloud Code or etc. But at least Cloud Code, from what I know, it spawns a dedicated context window for the agent call. And here is why it's important. For example, you are in the middle of the work. You keep working, you keep doing many tasks here, doing one, doing second one, third one. You keep going, and amount of context is wasting. You like about 40% of your context already consumed. But if to spawn a sub-agent for doing another task, like for coding or for level design, it's gonna not it's not going to consume this context. It's going to be a dedicated one here. I'm going to draw another window like this. It's also going to be big. It depends on the model going to be used. And it's going to get started to do the same stuff. It's going to consume the system prompt. It's going to consume the Cloud MD file, MCP tools, which is going to be available for that agent. You can change it, by the way. You can remove the half of the tools if you don't want, or all of them. And then on top of that, it's going to add agent MD file here. So on top of all of that, what we have here is going to be agent file right here. And this is one the most important because this is kind of like we are doing another layer of instructions on top. And we are doing that efficiently in the token consumption context. So and just because all of this is a sub agent, and we are not wasting a lot of tokens here in the main window, we can keep working here while spawning another sub agents time to time, doing some specific task. So if to compare it with humans, it's similar to like a team of humans. Like this one is a manager. And this is kind of like a team member who is doing something. It depends on what the task you have. So yeah, I hope my explanation works. Let me know if you have some additional questions about this.
So just to make sure I understand it, basically when you're using a sub agent isn't like I mean, it has its upsides for sure, but the main downside being as it needs to read the context and the tools and everything again, so you're wasting a little bit more tokens, but you're separating the responsibilities. So they're each focused on their own thing, but they both need the initial like token usage, we'll call it. Like they both need the tools and the MCP connections and the context and all that stuff. So that's like the downside of using the sub agents as like, is that actually happening?
Yeah, probably. Let me also highlight a very important thing here. So it's also about the context, how it works, and how tokens gonna be spent when you chatting with AI. Let's make it in a blank, simple scenario. Let's say we have the context window, and we just already spent some tokens here. We prompted 3 times, and right now we are doing a new prompt right there. When we do that, technically, when we send this message, this tiny message to AI, we actually sent all of this to AI. And amount of tokens going to be calculated by all of this, not only by this small chunk. It's going to be everything in the context window. So it's become very expensive. As longer you go in one context, as more stuff you're going to send again and again to LLM, and it's going to be very expensive. It's become expensive after each step. So architecture with agents is very cost efficient because instead of sending all of this, you create a brand new context which is like almost empty. It contains only like the system stuff and your custom task you just added here from this window is it's right there. And that's why it's more efficient in this context. That's what I'm trying to explain. And
Yeah.
there are many other reasons as well. It's like it's even you do not waste much context here in your main window where you are human doing something. It's kind of it's like a work delegation. You can delegate different tasks for different agents, and it just works even faster because you can do them in parallel. You can spawn 3 agents, and they're gonna work in parallel, and then they're just gonna return the result of their work. I mean, again, if to compare with humans, and imagine a human manager, and 3 programmers in a team. A manager actually doesn't care what a single button each programmer clicks on the keyboard, right? It's not very important. Manager only wants to know was the job done, and if not, what was wrong. That's enough for a manager. And that's exactly how it works with sub agents. So the main window you have right here just talks to other sub agents, and it only like gives instructions and receives back the output, but it doesn't care about everything else.
Interesting. That's cool. I didn't know it works that way, so thanks. It does sound more efficient.
Ivan,
Do you believe there is like a balance that you need to create in order for a sub-agent to have enough context of different features, of different ways that stuff were already implemented, and between just doing one singular feature and that's it? Like, how many sub-agents do I need to work with together, or is two sub-agents good enough because they have the context of everything and they know how to orchestrate all the work together? What is the balance that you keep in mind when you do this?
Yeah, that's a perfect question, actually, a very good one. And the answer is there is no exact number. It very depends on your environment, but there is a pattern. What you need to know how to answer yourself on the question for your specific project. You need to classify all the tasks you have. It's kind of like a classical classification problem for ML. You would need to know like how many types of task you have. For example, for a game development project, it could be level design, programming, um,
Animation
yeah,
between
yeah, animations probably. I mean, it depends on the project. So some projects don't have much animations. But yeah, probably animations, maybe like something else on top. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
hard
you may
to.
decide to define modeling different than texture or something like that.
Mm,
So you
yeah,
may
yeah,
even
yeah.
decide that this is a split.
Yeah, and it's very. I mean, let's have another sample from non-game development stuff. For example, for managing entire this project, I also do a couple of agents for different things. Um, and I have an agent for community communication, which has access to Discord. It can read, it can write, it can respond. It can kind of like a chatbot that can help people. That's a dedicated agent because it needs to know a specific data only for this stuff. Other agents should not care about the Discord because they have a different scope of the work. So this is more about like efficient token management in your project. So you only want to let AI to know what it should know to make the task. So if you have a task to respond to people in Discord, for that task, you definitely want to decouple this knowledge from all other AI agents you have, from all other chats you have with AI, just for this one. And that's why it's a good solution to make a dedicated agent to have this knowledge. If you have another type of task, not a single task, but like a range of task with the same classification, you also would need to know you would need to create another agent for that scope of the work and keep the knowledge there. And the second layer of the knowledge decoupling, that's skills. So skills works slightly differently from agent because agent going to be injected into the context always. It's going to be right here. The agent knowledge is going to be here in a sub agent always. But on top of that, agent itself can add on top a skill if that's needed. It can add one skill, two skills, three skills. It doesn't matter. It can keep going. So I would say the answer we need to ask here. It is not how many or that. We need to ask how to spread the knowledge for different agents and different skills to organize it efficiently to do not let AI to load into the context way too much inefficient, unimportant information. AI just need to load important and very like needed for this exact task information. And we have
But
different
say we'll take it to another
Dmitry,
extreme.
one
Yeah.
moment. I just want two things because I have here a second to talk. First of all, I will just give the analogy from the security realm. Is zero trust network access. You give a person the minimum that he needs in order to do his job and nothing more. So this is the same thing with agents. Another tip of mine is to let the main agent be able to kill the smaller agents, just to reset them, kill them. You don't need them. Remember to garbage them. They will not keep running for nothing. And I will just add two questions that I want before we will probably finish at some point. I want even to talk about. It's one is how people can contribute to your MCP and to engage with you and to keep and to stay in the loop and everything. And the other also because not only now I have time, I want to say thank you for coming and talking to everyone here. And this is also being recorded. You will have the recording, and our community is big, so they will probably watch it. And I will keep in contact with you to let you know if there is more stuff.
yeah,
Now,
and
let's
thanks
see you. Yeah.
yeah,
So say take
and
it.
thanks for having me. Yeah, I also appreciate it.
This is our pleasure. Like it's a, I think it's a long time we didn't have a very good talk with someone that's like really know the stuff underneath everything. So this is fun for me especially.
Cool. Yeah,
Definitely. We
appreciate it.
also see the comments saying how much they appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, let me answer a couple of the questions we have here. So, how to contribute? I have the small instructions right here, how to contribute into the project at the GitHub. I'm gonna drop the link to GitHub. Um, and right now, it's all the way at the bottom. Just scroll all the way at the bottom. You're gonna see this text block right here. It contains instructions and much more instructions here in the development documentation. And also, there is a list of issues right here. I'm gonna send another link in the chat. Um, and also, yeah, so there are a lot of issues. I would like to have some help with them. And some of them I'll label it as help wanted. I'm gonna send another link here. So all of them, they need some attention from people. So if you have some time to invest into the development, like doing some stuff, I would highly appreciate it. That's gonna be great. And it's keep adding more tasks gonna be added soon there as well. Yeah, sorry. And what was the other question?
Uh-huh.
Mine, nothing specific. No, this is great. This is exactly how people can contribute and how they know what to contribute.
Yeah.
So this is great. You can continue. I just want to also be aware of your time and to respect it. Just as you know, we are already an hour and 15 minutes in. So in my opinion, we can wrap it up soon, and then maybe in the future we'll do most things. I think I connected you with Yuri, so and there's some questions here too. So here Yuval sent one.
Great question, Yuval.
Yeah. Yeah, and I would say we can go for the next like 10 minutes if you have some time because I heard some question. I just don't remember what was it from someone in the chat. And yeah, I can like answer for a couple of more, and then yeah, we can wrap up. And yeah, could you please remind me what was the question? It was something about sub-agents and something else. Do you remember, guys?
So it might be my question, but we can go forward to what
Yeah.
the another one said in the comments. He asked Yuval, how do we share our gratitude when a game is done and published thanks to you using your MCP?
Oh, I don't know actually. Actually, I have no idea.
Great
Oh,
question.
no, I have an answer for that. Just make a video or a GIF animation and drop it into the Discord server or for a game developer into the showcase channel right there. Um, People are dropping some videos and sharing it with others, so it's pretty cool stuff. For example, it was one of the recent games someone is working on. It's kind of like a Roblox type of game with Flash running. It's pretty simple, but looks good to me. Yeah, so just shared right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah, cool. All right. So yeah, answering a bit more about this stuff. So yeah, the good question we need to ask e each self, or like how to manage stuff with AI. It's like how to organize the information for AI. It's become actually very trendy right now and very popular. People are talking about like how to optimize AI workflow, and that's very important to optimize the data in your project, like knowledge in your project, how AI gonna operate it. Because if you have a messy environment with like messy data, not right structure, not a solid pipeline, how things should be done, AI also gonna struggle. I mean, it's like a human person. If that's complicated for a brand new human who is like very new to your project, it's also gonna be very complicated for AI as well. In the same time, there's almost no difference in this context. So need to organize data in a project. Organize knowledge using many markdown files to explain different types of things, using agents, using skills, and also it could be very efficient as well to create a new custom tools for AI on your own. And that's exactly what AI game developer allows you to do. I'm gonna show you real quick. There is a section in the index of the documentation about custom MCP tool right there. And there is a short sample how you can do that. So you can literally convert any method in C# into an MCP tool. And just because of using these descriptions, AI gonna read the data and it's gonna understand the data. Like it's kind of like you natively prompted the data into LLM. And you can explain even a single property in your function You can explicitly say what's that about, how it should be used, what data should be there, and you can like label it with this attribute. So it's going to be registered like an MCP tool, and the class is also should be labeled as MCP tool. And that's it. You can add many more methods. You can make it static if you want. You can make it not static. It doesn't matter. And AI gonna have the full access to them, and it can call them, providing the data. So if you have some specific operations in your project that the default tool doesn't allow you to do, you can create the tool for your exact project and make it much more efficient. So AI gonna do that from one shot next time. And that's also like very efficient approach I would recommend you to use.
That's cool. That's awesome. I'm just reading your documentation, trying to figure out the best practices, and also it kind of connects to one of the questions somebody wrote is any pro tips for using your MCP, something that's must know, something that you must implement every time you work with it, something like that's gonna improve your efficiency.
Yeah, and that's definitely going to be one of them.
Yeah.
That's to making custom MCP tools for your project, specifically for your tasks. I mean, sometimes you may have some pipeline to do ABC, and that's ABC is going to be three actions like A, B, and C. You can make it much shorter if you do a single tool, which AI can call from one shot and do the full ABC at once. If only that doesn't require a lot of data to inject into the input arguments of the method. Because if that's the case, maybe that's still better to keep them separated. Yeah, and other Pro Tools, it's not more about the game developer, it's more about like using AI. And that's also what I said, like agents, skills, and knowledge. Knowledge for AI, how to do that or this in your project. You need to manage that.
Nice. Cool.
Yeah.
Sergey asks, sorry, let's see if you want to go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Sergey asks, maybe a question about runtime. How do you use the MCP runtime? Did you try letting it play your game? Any pointers to runtime flows for runtime flows?
Yeah, cool question. I have a demo for that real quick. I hope I have the demo for that. Oh, probably I do not. Yeah, I had the video where AI was playing chess game in runtime. So, and that's actually was a very simple case because I just used like 10 lines of code, implementing two custom tools for runtime. One of them, it was read the chessboard data, like where each figure is and what's the figure, like position and type. And the second tool is just to move to make the movement, like which figure should be moved and where. That was just 10 lines of code. And AI was able to handle the entire game very easily. So it's kind of like outsourcing the game mechanic to AI. It's actually expensive solution because like for chess game, it's definitely going to be much cheaper to just to create AI in C, like not AI like LLM, but AI like in C sharp. You can just implement the rules, logic, stuff, and you can do that. Or you can use some library for chess game that's going to do that for you. But for some other scenarios, you can do much cooler stuff. For example, I have the video somewhere. Hold on, let me find it real quick. It's like where you have the strategy game with castle, factory, robots, turrets, tanks, etc. And you can use commands like a voice command to AI to do operations in the game. You can like tell AI like, hey, make me 5 tanks from factory, or then send tanks to like north because there are enemies there. And that's how it works. So you can just implement a function in C sharp for like spawning tanks, or for sending tanks there or here, and as many. And that's how it works. So it's pretty cool stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm
that's
looking for the video right now. Yeah, you can ask another question
I think I was just
meanwhile.
gonna say, I think Mitzi and I were talking about privately the other day about usages of AI within the game, and I think he showed me a very cool scene where he built an actual chat box inside the game at runtime, and it would give commands to the agent, and it would actually make them happen inside the game at runtime, which was really I thought was really cool. Um,
Yuval, unmute you for now. Okay.
okay, there we go.
Okay.
Um, oh,
Yeah,
that's
my
super cool.
approach is a bit different because I didn't use like MCP to live
Right,
AI into the game. I rather used the AI agents to create an API that the API can call to another Python, and the Python server called to a local LLM. So it was a different orchestration,
right.
but the general idea where it goes through the AI in order to create through API that you create yourself in Unity is the same general logic. So yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I also just found this video. It's on the screen right now. If you see that,
Yeah, yeah. What are
that's
we seeing here?
yeah, that's the game I was talking about. So here is a user is using voice to control the game, like to ask an AI to spawn turret, like to build new turrets, to send the tanks, create new tanks from the factory, and like that's how it works. It's only voice, only voice commands for playing the game. That's probably like very extreme sample because like using only voice, it's not a good solution. But like it's just a demo. And I believe later in the future is going to be an option in games. I mean, some games going to do that. It's going to be two options, like premium and free. Like you can for free play the game as you usually play using UI, keyboard, and mouse. But on top, you can like purchase a subscription or premium plan where you can play the game and you can like outsource a lot of boring stuff from the game, from the gameplay to AI.
That's actually
For
super cool.
example, yeah, for example, for strategy games like this one or like some Sim City Skylines or something like that, you can like or Factorio, you can outsource a lot of like heavy logic to AI. You can just simply like tell AI what you want, and it's gonna like create stuff for you much faster.
I think we're getting into the point where you kind of think about, well, is it actually me playing the game then? And we're getting all philosophical about it, but it's really cool. Like for specific games, I can see it being an upside for sure.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
even
Even technology-wise, seeing that it is already available doing such things.
yeah, it's crazy. It's insane that we're at this point.
Yeah, it's gonna be very interesting in the future how company gonna use it. We'll see.
Yeah.
All
Um,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
Ivan,
Any
yeah,
other question? Mhm.
so yeah, I think out of respect for your time, it's already been an hour and a half, and we reviewed in an hour. So firstly, thank you so much for everything, for all the questions and the time you've given us, and you talking through your process and answering the questions everybody had. I'm sure all of us gained a point to their perspective on working with AI and game development and in general, thanks to you. So, firstly, thank you so much for everything. And I hope we can do more of these in the future. I'm sure Shaka will talk to you even more in the future. Hopefully, we can arrange a part two to this.
Again,
Um,
shout out for the Discord server and for the
yeah,
GitHub, and everybody follow him both on
I'm
the
already at the
Discord and the
server.
GitHub.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
Feel free to join. Feel free to
Thank you
check
so
our
much.
links for stuff that's like for our AI game dev community on WhatsApp. Everybody that's relevant, or even you, Ivan, you're more than welcome to join. It's going to be mostly Hebrew, but go ahead. Um, and of course,
Yeah,
Yeah.
feel free to,
absolutely.
yeah,
Yeah, and
I also I want to remind again, in 3 months we have the Gamers Conference, so maybe I will also connect you with them. It will be good. And we have the WhatsApp and the school itself. But the most important thing is use MCP, use AI, and keep building the community.
hell yeah.
awesome. Yeah, and thank you so much, guys, for having me. It was a pleasure to be here to talk with you, to like sharing more information about AI game developer because like I'm very passionate about this project and it's very cool. Like people have interest to this one. So yeah,
Yeah, we're looking
thank you all
forward
of
for
you.
more. Thank you, Ivan.
That's cool.
Keep doing
Thank
that.
you, guys.
Thank you so much.
We're gonna share
All right.
the recording with you. I'll send it to you, Ivan, through Shachar probably, and we're gonna send it into a WhatsApp group for GameDev AI. See you all in the next meeting.
Also, awesome. Okay, guys. Have a good rest of your day or evening.
Thank you.
You too. Have a good evening. Bye bye.
See you guys.
Yeah, bye bye.